Imagine a world where, overnight, your city becomes a trap, a place where survival is a challenge and every street, every building, every corner reminds you that staying was a mistake. The 2026 economic crash is not just a recession. It is a historic financial quake, fueled by a massive global debt bubble, supply chain collapses, and a housing market ready to explode. Jobs vanish, businesses shut down, rent skyrocket, crime multiplies, and public services freeze. Cities that once symbolized opportunity and luxury now turn into survival zones. Los Angeles, the city of dreams and illusions, will turn into a survival nightmare. The creative and tech industries, once the heartbeat of LA, will collapse under mass layoffs, leaving thousands jobless and desperate. Rents, already astronomically high, will spike even further as housing supply contracts, forcing people to live in tense or overcrowded apartments. Streets that once glimmered with Hollywood glamour will become dark, dangerous, and silent, except for sirens and the occasional shout. People who came here chasing fame will now fight daily just to secure basic necessities, their dreams buried under bills and eviction notices. Toronto, Canada is next, a city already infamous for high costs of living. With the crash, banking and tech layoffs will explode, and the already overburdened housing market will implode. Citizens will struggle to pay for heating and food during harsh winters, and homelessness will spike dramatically. Streets will be lined with people seeking shelter, and banks and government offices will be overwhelmed, leaving residents to fend for themselves in a freezing city that once symbolized stability. Dubai, a city built on luxury, tourism, and foreign investment, will face a different kind of disaster. Expats, making up 90% of the workforce, will see jobs vanish, triggering mass departures. Real estate projects will stall, investors will pull out, and the glimmering skyline will be mirrored by the despair in the streets below. People will rush to leave before visas expire, luxury malls will empty, and hotels will sit dark and abandoned. San Francisco, once the tech capital of the world, will become a ghost city. Remote work, already on the rise, combined with mass layoffs in tech, will empty downtown offices and neighborhoods. Streets will echo with silence, crime will rise as desperate citizens turn to theft, and the city that once represented innovation and wealth will be haunted by its own collapse. London, a city long viewed as the global financial heartbeat of the world, will experience currency instability and financial panic. Housing costs, already extreme, will push people to desperation, while mass layoffs in banking and finance will leave thousands unemployed. Transport strikes, crime surges, and a pervasive sense of panic will take hold, turning busy streets into scenes of unease and uncertainty. And while these 5 cities are just the beginning, they perfectly illustrate the terrifying reality awaiting 2026. The combination of debt, economic mismanagement, and overdependence on fragile systems will make many cities unlivable for most people, especially those with limited resources. This is the world you are about to explore, a world where staying put could cost everything you own, and leaving too late might mean regret for a lifetime. Over the next few minutes, you will witness the chilling realities of these cities, their hidden vulnerabilities, and why 2026 may be the year that changes urban life forever.
Fragile industries will make previously thriving cities nearly unlivable, forcing residents to make critical decisions about whether to stay or flee before it's too late. Moving on to city number 10, Chicago, the city known for its iconic skyline and bustling streets, 2026 will transform it into a pressure cooker of economic despair. Already grappling with high crime and budget constraints, the crash will magnify every issue. Massive layoffs in manufacturing, services, and the tech sector will leave thousands unemployed, while skyrocketing rents and frozen wages push middle-class families into precarious living conditions. Streets that once vibrated with energy will now echo with sirens and the anxious chatter of those struggling to survive. City infrastructure, already strained, will fail under the weight of demand, making public transport unreliable and hospitals overcrowded. Moving on to city number 9, Miami, a city famed for its beaches and tourism, will experience devastation through climate vulnerability combined with economic collapse. Rising sea levels and storm surges, paired with a crashing tourism and real estate market, will make survival almost impossible. Expensive condos and luxury hotels will sit empty, while ordinary residents struggle to pay for basic necessities amid inflation and high unemployment. Public services will falter, forcing citizens to fend for themselves in neighborhoods that were once lively and secure. City number 8, Sydney, Australia, will face a similar fate. Once a beacon of prosperity and safety, 2026 will see Sydney's housing bubble burst, unemployment soar, and food prices spike. Residents will be forced to make impossible choices between rent, utilities, and feeding their families. Streets will be quiet but tense, with a rising underground economy and crime as survival instincts take over. City number 7, Hong Kong, a global financial hub, will be hit by massive stock market crashes and property devaluations. Expats and locals alike will face eviction, job loss, and limited access to basic necessities. The city's famous skyline may remain visually stunning, but the streets below will tell a story of desperation, with once thriving neighborhoods abandoned or occupied by those clinging to survival. Finally, city number 6, Paris, France, will see its cultural and economic foundations shaken to the core. Tourism, which supports millions of jobs, will collapse, leading to mass layoffs in hospitality and services. Rising unemployment, combined with inflation, will make the city's famously high cost of living nearly unbearable. Streets once filled with cafes and tourists will empty, and social unrest may rise as citizens struggle to maintain their quality of life amid a deepening economic crisis. And as these 5 cities demonstrate, the 2026 crash will not discriminate. It will affect luxury and working-class neighborhoods alike, leaving residents to face the harsh reality that life as they knew it may never return, forcing them to make life-changing decisions about whether to stay or escape before the collapse becomes permanent. As we approach the top 5 cities most at risk in 2026, the reality becomes even more harrowing. City number 5, New York City, once the financial and cultural capital of the world, will face unprecedented chaos. Wall Street and the financial sector will collapse under extreme market volatility, leaving thousands unemployed overnight. Rent, already among the highest globally, will surge uncontrollably, pushing families into cramped apartments or temporary shelters. Crime rates will spike dramatically, with desperate individuals resorting to theft and violence just to survive. The iconic streets of Manhattan, Times Square, and Brooklyn, once alive with energy, will be quiet and tense, filled with anxious faces struggling to hold on to life as they know it. Number 4, Tokyo, Japan, will experience a perfect storm of economic and social strain. A bursting housing and tech bubble, combined with population density challenges, will make everyday survival a challenge.
Supply chain disruptions will cause food and essential shortages, while skyrocketing unemployment leaves residents desperate and anxious. Even the most organized and prepared citizens will struggle as government support systems are overwhelmed. City number 3, Beijing, China, will feel the ripple effects of both domestic and global economic collapse. Exports, tech industries, and local businesses will falter, creating mass unemployment. Public services will strain under the pressure, and crowded urban neighborhoods will become breeding grounds for tension, unrest, and opportunistic crime. Families will be forced to ration food, conserve energy, and make difficult decisions just to stay afloat. City number 2, Mumbai, India, a city known for its massive population and rapid growth, will see the crash amplify already existing vulnerabilities. Infrastructure, housing, and sanitation systems will be overwhelmed, while mass layoffs and inflation leave residents struggling for basic necessities. The streets, markets, and trains that once symbolized energy and opportunity will instead reflect chaos, desperation, and fear. Finally, city number 1, Lagos, Nigeria, the most populous city in Africa, will face a catastrophic combination of economic collapse, resource scarcity, and social unrest. The 2026 crash will magnify the effects of poverty, unemployment, and infrastructure challenges, leaving residents scrambling for food, water, and safety. Urban areas will become unpredictable, survival-focused zones, and families will face life-altering decisions daily. These 15 cities, each with unique challenges, represent a global warning. The 2026 crash will not discriminate between luxury and necessity, prosperity and poverty. Every city will test the resilience, ingenuity, and survival instincts of its residents. If you or your loved ones live in any of these cities, understanding the risks and preparing now could be the difference between surviving and regretting your choices later. The future may seem uncertain, but knowledge is power, and planning ahead is essential. As this video ends, remember to like and subscribe for more insights into global economic shifts, and comment below which city you think is most vulnerable and what precautions you would take if the crash hits. Stay aware, stay prepared, and always keep one step ahead of the storm that 2026 may bring.
Moving beyond these, Chicago will be stretched to the breaking point, as layoffs and rising rents push families into tents and temporary shelters, while infrastructure collapses under pressure. Miami, famous for beaches and tourism, will face economic collapse compounded by climate risks, leaving residents vulnerable to both financial and environmental crises. Sydney, Australia will see a housing bubble burst and food prices spike, forcing residents to make impossible decisions between rent, utilities, and feeding their families. Hong Kong, a global financial hub, will be paralyzed by stock market crashes and mass unemployment, while streets that once buzzed with activity become empty or tense with anxiety. Paris, France will experience the collapse of tourism-driven jobs, skyrocketing inflation, and social unrest as the city's high cost of living becomes unbearable. And as we reach the top 5 cities, the situation becomes even more harrowing. New York City will face Wall Street collapse, mass layoffs, skyrocketing rents, and unprecedented crime, turning the iconic streets of Manhattan and Brooklyn into zones of anxiety and survival. Tokyo will endure a perfect storm of housing, tech, and population density crises, with supply chain disruptions causing shortages of food and essentials. Beijing will struggle with domestic and global economic pressures, forcing residents into rationing, energy conservation, and daily life-or-death decisions. Mumbai, with its massive population, will see infrastructure and sanitation collapse, while mass layoffs and inflation make survival a daily struggle. Finally, Lagos, Nigeria, the most populous city in Africa, will face catastrophic economic collapse, resource scarcity, and social unrest, leaving citizens scrambling for food, water, and safety in unpredictable urban zones. These 15 cities, each with unique challenges, serve as a global warning. 2026 will test human resilience, resourcefulness, and survival instincts. Luxury or necessity, wealth or poverty, no city will be spared from the shockwaves. If you or your loved ones live in any of these cities, understanding the risks and preparing now could be the difference between surviving and regretting your choices later. As you watch this, picture yourself walking these streets, imagining the chaos, the desperation, the fear, and the struggle to survive. Visualize empty highways, closed businesses, families in tents, police sirens echoing through once busy neighborhoods, and the silent anxiety that fills the air. This is the world of 2026, where preparation is survival, knowledge is power, and awareness is your only shield. If this video has opened your eyes to the realities of what's coming, make sure to like and subscribe for more in-depth analyses of global economic trends. Comment below which city you live in and how you plan to survive if the 2026 crash hits. Share this video with your friends and family to give them a head start. Stay alert, stay informed, and most importantly, plan ahead. The 2026 crash isn't coming, it's already on the horizon, and only those who prepare will endure.